Hello people, welcome back to King Swift. It's going to be a little bit different today. We're not in the wheelhouse and we're looking down this bilge area here. We've got to get this cleared out. We're coming through from the wheelhouse, which we're waiting for just to do the spraying over, but I'd like to do a little bit further work back there, so we will be back in there at some point. But down here we've got a bilge area which goes through to the shower area, which we need to look at. There's some bits and pieces in there that need to come out. A little bit of cutting out to do. And just to my right hand side we've got a white board there. How far we get with that I'm not sure, but that's to mount the engine box, which is the engine control panel. So, well, it's a junction panel really, which we built up a few weeks ago. Still a few more bits to go in there yet, but that will eventually go on the opposite side of here. So the first thing we've got to do, have a look down there. Been a little while since we've been in this little pit of a hole, so it's going to need a bit of cleaning up, but we'll have a look what's down there, and then we'll have a look what's down here, and then we've got to start thinking about services coming through. As we're working through the wheelhouse, we're working into this area here now, into here, and slowly we'll work through the boat. That's the plan anyway, that's the plan. Right, I do believe that these have got encapsulated bolts. Now I thought they were glued to start with, but I'm now thinking that these come off. There. We'll find out. We might have to make a new one, but we can't leave this here like this. It's on the side. They're not even tight, them ones. Look. Now, oh, blimey. That hurt. That one certainly does help. Okay, we'll keep these. I honestly thought these were bonded in when I first started to do this boat, and I thought, oh, it'd be a nightmare. But this isn't too bad. It's actually quite a good idea what they've done. I'll take it all back. Now, there's some bolts behind this one. Gonna move that out of the way. We've got to have this one out as well. Get my favourite tool. There they are. And there we have it. Right, we need to keep all this stuff, because this has all got to be going back in. Right, so it fits, that's the main thing. Probably repaint it, but it fits. There we go. So, put all this stuff together. Look. Okay. Now we have access. Okay. Let's have a look. All this is coming out, so we're going to get as much out as we can, and then we're going to give it a really good blast, clean the entire side out. Now we've got to go into this side as well. This is your deflector, well, it's a diverter valve. It goes from the loo to the tank below my feet, or out to this seacock, which we need to take off. We need to take everything off. Check everything. We don't put the boat back in the water ever until you check every hole in the bottom of this boat. It's going to hold. Okay, next let's start with that pump, so I know it's disconnected. Now the pump will just come out of my hand. There. We'll have a little discussion about this, the pumps, because it's really important. We'll test this. Now this is a bilge pump. Basically it's got a non-return valve, so it stops water from coming back in. Basically water gets in here, this pumps it out. I've got something to show you in a little while. Something you don't buy if you ever buy one of these. If you get one of these, Jabsco, 1750 gallons per hour. This thing could empty a swimming pool, and that's what you want. Yeah, this one here. This was to do with the auto trim tabs on the back of the boat. It used to keep the boat steady in high or rough seas, or if the boat become too high at the front, it would sort of like adjust the tabs at the back of the boat. And very clever device. Old transducers, we won't use that. This is also something we'll talk about later. It's a roller switch, and it's it's used for the auto trim tabs at the back. Right, let's see what else you got down here. The red item, that's an expansion vessel. Basically it's for the water pressure, which for this boat, that is exceedingly small. And the little box to the right hand side, that's just a junction box. So let's get them out next. Right, the old cut. Personally, this wouldn't run a fish bowl. Junk. It's just I would never fit it down in the first place. It's already looking better. It's already looking better. Let's take that old bilge pump out as well. That whole thing can come out. Come on. Hey. We don't need that. We're looking good. Another hole blocked up out of the bottom here. Okay, let's get a quick hoover out. I'm going to have a look where we are. What's this bit all about? Locked on there. I think what we do first is we look at taking this off. We don't need this either. We keep them, so we don't need it. Not at the moment. There you go. Bolts for the, see, it's bolted underneath as well. That's why we couldn't get them. You're never going to get them out. Nice bit of aluminium though. Okay. It's looking a little bit better. Now we need to get the pipes off and the valves out. Then look at them sensor bases. Then we're going to give it a proper blast and clean. Well, we're certainly moving on. I think I'm going to go and get some WD-40, spray the valves, we get the valves off, and then we get the air compressor on, and we'll give that a blast with some, I don't know, some degreaser or something. Kitty. No, that ain't coming off. What about this one? It ain't coming off in a hurry, is it? Okay. Okay, we'll have to use a universal cutter. Just cut that pipe. I'm actually thinking about taking, still works. I'll tell you what, the universal cutter. That. That isn't good. There we go. It's a good valve. Very good valve. Yeah, I like that. Plastic. No good valve. There's been a few poopies gone through that. What I'm going to do is all the fittings down there and just generally the inside of the bilge. I'm just going to use a bit of gunk. You don't dilute this stuff. The stuff I'm using, it just goes straight on. You can brush it on, or what I do is I stick it into one of these. I can really blast it around inside. So that's my next object, and then I'll probably leave that because that will really just get into everything and clean it. So yeah, just leave it for a little while, and then the old vacuum, take it all out. Hey, that'll do. Right, just let that sit on there for half an hour. I'm just going to have a little bit of a clear up here because, as usual, I've got crap everywhere. That's just the way it is, but I can't work like it. I'm going to give these valves a blast as well and give them a clean. Then we'll go over a few bits. Get the water out, and then I think it's a trip outside to see what these sensors are doing on the outside, and are we keeping them, or are they going? Reminds me of the first week. Let's go. That's looking a lot better than it was. So we need to get underneath the boat now see what the sensor is here on the left hand side. We know what these two valves are. I'm not too sure about this middle sensor, but we know this one here on the far right was the speed sensor, which we can cap. When we come over to the other side, that's now cleaned out as well. All this still has to come out, so but we need to really see what we was up against down the bottom there, and it's not too bad, but it's all going to need good old machine brushing and painting before it goes back in. Don't pull down the hole. That's a depth sensor, it's a big one. We need to check that. We need to test if it's working on the other side. Just there, you can see that's, I do believe, that's your water out. That is your outlet, isn't it? Because it's this way more. And then at the back there, that's water in. It doesn't make any sense. But we need to get a brush on them. Not today, but we need a brush when we look under the hull side. And yeah, let's have another look. Let's have a look at the engine intake while we're here. That one there, that's the engine intake for the cooling. And this here is a very interesting story. This plate, which you see, you can just see the edge of it. There's a story, and that came from the 2008 race when the boat was damaged. Basically the story on the 2008 was when it left Southampton, they hit a submarine wall. There's the other side, props, drives. Yeah, there's a bit to do on this side, isn't there? A little bit to do. Coming round. If you notice, this boat has no keel. It is designed to be super quick on the water. This is where the trim tabs would have gone, and so they would have fitted here, and then they would have sort of moved up and down, or sometimes you get someone just go straight. I think this would have had like 45, 35s moving up and down. They would have gone into this point here, there would have been a cylinder and some sort of control, possibly from one of these or somewhere else, maybe from the inside on the end of the valve, and they would have been controlled by them devices which are in the boat. And they would have worked independently, so you wouldn't have had any stability problems with the boat wonking around and going up and down. On a spring day, paint, that's what she needs, paint. Yeah, can't wait. Okay, so what we dug out of here today, the output valve for the obviously loo, checked, works fine, but we'll split it down at some point. It's fully serviceable valve, we can reuse that. The inlet valve for the loo, which we had previously used river water, but our loo, WC, a toilet, won't be using river water, we'll be using clean water from the tank because our tank is enormous. And again, it's very serviceable, it works, and we can use that. Trim control in the back of the boat. Basically, we're not going to use that. It probably does work, but I probably will keep it because someone may come along and say, you know what, I like the traditional ones and stuff, and we're gonna, that could be handy for me. It works. This is also trim control, and again, I know it works. I've even got the controllers for these, so probably something I won't be using. Tabasco pump. This is a 24 volt. It does work on 12 volt, but not very well. This one does 1460 imperial gallons per hour. On 12 volt, it probably half that. It just run at half the speed, but it's got some useful stuff on it, and yeah, it's someone had that. Someone had that. There'll be a home for that somewhere. Now, I've actually pulled this in. This is the brand new flow switch. Now, I've deliberately bought this because this is absolute junk of a switch. When this Tabasco pump was in, it had a decent switch on it, and unfortunately when I was breaking it with the other base, I broke it. This one I got by it came with another pack of something, and what if you look at this, what this does is it just basically, if you get water in your bilge, you're sinking, that goes up, turns on the switch, turns on the pump, pumps it out. Now that to me, there's no name on this, there's nothing, there's no accountability, there's no sea flow, no shore flow, no Jabasco, whatever, Jabsco, there's nothing there. They've even got the ignition spelt with an L, a backward L. Would you trust your boat after all the money you've put into it? Would you trust that? Look at the pins, you can just pull them off. So yeah, when you buy something like this, when you do a job like this, and you put stuff into the bottom of the bilges, remember that stuff, you're only going back to it now and then, make sure it's good quality stuff. You know, something like this will probably just seize up, and when your boat does get into trouble, and it can get into trouble, you could have just a water leak coming from one of the inlet valves or something. That will soon fill up that little compartment there. But if that doesn't work, that's going to keep on filling up the compartment, and you're going to be waiting and hoping the one in the aft or the one in the bow kicks in. But yeah, don't buy cheap rubbish. Good hit today. A little bit difficult for you to see. I've done my best with the camera, to be honest, but it's such a low area of the boat. But yeah, we've done okay. That's clear. We're now looking at what's going to go in there: expansion tank, water pump, valves for the main tank. We can start looking at doing that. But the main thing is on the next one is to go through to the WC area, the shower room, get all that pipes out, get everything out from there as well. So it's all nice and clean, ready for a blast over with new paint, and then the new stuff can go in. So anyway, as always, I really appreciate each and every one of you. The main people here is yourselves. So take care of yourselves, like and subscribe if you like what I'm doing. I really do appreciate all your comments, and I do answer all of them. So take care, thank you, and see you soon.